Yo, what's going on? It's not Monday, but it's the Midsole. This is Keep It a Buck. I've done this show, I don't know, maybe a year or so ago and just didn't have the time to do it. But we got two uh, sneaker enthusiasts on the panel today. Well, there's three if you want to include me, but it is what it is. But first, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Sneaker Files. Brian, what's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
And then we have Heads Ain't Ready, John. Also,
What's up?
Sneaker Dads. And what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up? Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So, is this a special show? We want to kind of talk about, responsibility within the sneaker community. Um, and Jonathan, or John, sorry, John wrote an article and he mentioned Brian, our sneaker files, in the article, and we just kind of want discuss that and just kind of branch off of that and get into other things that are popping off in the sneaker community, keeping everything positive, no yelling, none of that, all respectful. So you don't have to worry about that. If it's drama that you're after, you don't have to go get your popcorn. It's gonna be completely cool. But first, Brian, man, can you give us just a little background on you and Sneaker Files?
Yeah, I founded Sneaker Files back in 2006. 2006, and about almost 13 years now. But been writing about sneakers actually before that. Writing probably since 2004. So I've been around as far as the whole sneaker community, I guess if you want to call it that, when it was much smaller, more of a niche community, and yeah, I was more on the message boards back then. Just wanted to create something that was a little easier, to find the information in the news, because when you would go to like a website like Nike Talk, something I used to frequent, you'd have to kind of dig a lot, and that's part of the fun of it. Don't get me wrong, but I thought maybe there's an easier way for people that don't have time, and then all blogs kind of blew up from there, and we're pretty much here today.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know back in the day, used to interviews with like stars and things like that, or used to have, well, at least Sneaker Files had that going on, and I do remember he's been on the show before, Mr. 14s.
Yeah, yeah, that's my favorite model right there.
Yeah,
Gosh, got too many of those, man.
yeah, and I mean, so let's go ahead and John, let's get your bio so people can kind of get to know you if they don't already.
Sure. Yeah, so I'm just your average sneakerhead, sneaker dad from Toronto. Been collecting for not that long. People call me an OG because I'm old, but not an OG. But I have I'm pretty I'm a lot of love for sneakers and the sneaker community, and I'm also a journalist. I've been a financial journalist for about 15 years, writing about the stock market. So occasionally I get to write about public companies like Nike, and manage to squeeze some sneakers into my investing beat here and there. But just kind of started dabbling in the blog space with my friend Net Magnetism, who also is from Toronto.
Right.
Very successful seller of shoes. So he helped me. He let me throw something up, and I thought this was a interesting interesting thing going on these days. And that Red One rumor, I think, was something that got everyone excited. We'll talk about it, obviously, but that's my story. And
For sure.
I do run Sneaker Dads. I've been doing that for about a year. It's everyone should just check it out. It's pretty obvious what it is.
Yeah.
Self-explanatory.
For sure. And that was one of the things in the last show that we had. If you guys didn't, if you weren't able to check it out, go ahead and check it out, because one of the things we were talking about was sneaker policing, and what is our responsibility as far as being in the community. Like, do we call people out when we see things, or do we leave it alone? For the most part, I did see John writing in the chat, kind of about this topic, and then he reached out to me on Instagram, and he sent me his story, his blog that he wrote on net magnetism. What, net magnetism?
Yep.
On net magnetism. I'll put it up here. The link is in the description, And if you guys haven't had a chance to take a look at it, go ahead and take a look at it. After we get kind of done talking with this, and this kind of, I like to see what your interpretation of it is, and especially after hearing how it came about and the reactions. I like to see what you guys think about it in the comments. But I have the article up here, and John, if you want to just kind of talk about, just give us the skinny on it, and what led you to write about this.
Yeah, so like everyone, I think the day the rumor dropped, maybe even the evening, I forget when, everyone was posting about it. Everyone picked up the news, all the blogs and IG accounts and websites picked up this spread one rumor, and it spread really quickly. It was on Twitter. DJ Folk was talking about it. People were attributing to Pino 77 and Coley 2XS, who I didn't know, and apparently he started this news. At least as far as I can discover, this news was broke on his first YouTube video, and he has about 200 subscribers. I don't know. I follow sneaker media pretty closely. I've never heard of him, but I don't know that much. I know DJ Folk. He says he's not. He doesn't do this 24/7 like a lot of people. So it seemed like the rumor spread really, really quickly, and all the blogs picked it up. And as being a reporter myself, I didn't see any of the facts behind it or any of the validity to the rumor. It seems like, and this happens a lot these days. Unfortunately, I worked at a newspaper, and I know how important getting web traffic is, and I think that's a function of that. And people have since told me. So I just thought it was a rumor that everyone, it could very well happen. I'm not saying I don't know. I don't have connections like that. It just seemed like this story spread too quickly based on a rumor, and we know they often don't come true in the sneaker world, in the real world, other world, and even the people who leaked it said that the next day they changed their story. So it was kind of obvious to me. So I thought it was worth just talking about this, and how people just jump on a rumor and then they don't actually remember if it doesn't come out or if it gets delayed. There's little accountability, I think. I don't want to speak for everyone. I think some sites and blogs and accounts and leakers are better than others. It's just, with everyone getting excited, it spreads like wildfire, and then, people remember, they sell their breads based on a rumor. It's not a lot of money maybe at stake, but maybe for some people it is. It does certainly seem to mean something to people because they talk about it. So that was the onus behind writing the article.
Okay, all right. Let me go to Brian. I want to interject after I hear, Brian, just talk about like reading the article and like what was going through your mind.
That it was very hypocritical. That was the first thing that jumped in my mind. There was just things wrong with that article, and no offense, but I could tell that it was written by, somebody that isn't necessarily behind the scenes of things on sneakers. Now, I don't personally know you, but I've been doing this for quite a while, and I've talked to many individuals who have straight connections with the brand. I'm personally friends with them. Like, I hang out with them in person, so there's not like a anonymous email that I get sent and someone says it, because obviously I'm not going to go off just something like that. Another thing was that when you just said that people, they tend to forget, there was a rumor, 2016 it might have been, that the Taxi Air Jordan 12s were going to release. At that time they were planned to release, and as everyone knows, they were scrapped. I still get asked when they're coming out to this day. So people don't forget. They're leaving comments everywhere. People are asking. They're still asking. So if you put something out there, it's not forgotten. It's still being asked.
Yeah, I guess I meant people forget who said it more than people forget. I think everyone's going to remember that the bread rumor was spread, but I don't think, I'm looking at it like from a reporting and a journalistic and a news type of, I feel like the standard should be for sneaker news should be the same as for anything. You know, maybe it's not as important as politics or the financial markets, but there's plenty of news that is you know, certain entertainment news I care about less, and you know, I feel like there's a little more accountability. But you know, it's tough. It's tough to pay good reporters and stuff. I mean, you know, you've been doing this for a long time. You know better than anyone else. And I don't claim to have any background, and I'd love to get some more insights on how things work, because some people have told me that they have no connections, major. You know, I have some friends in the media, sneaker media. I don't have any sources at the brand, but they've told me things that confirm what I wrote, and I'll be happy to share them. They were in the article. It was things like, you know, we just run with the rumor, we don't check it. I don't know the bottom of your guys' article, but did you source someone else? That was
on the initial bread rumor, I sourced DJ Folk, and then that night I talked to one of my good friends, and the biggest issue with that, and everybody is getting things complicated here, is that the color description, the product number, even the fact that they're going to be available in full family sizes, that's a totally different shoe. Now, the bread Jordan 1 in OG form, I don't know for sure if it's going to be the high cut and all that, but I was told that the OG bread 1 is going to release. I was told it's probably not going to be on Black Friday, but maybe around that time. And it's supposed to have React cushioning. That's what I was told. And so there's two different shoes. There is a Black Friday release, and it's gonna be a bread Chicago-like theme, but it's gonna have a white base. I did a mock-up based off what potentially it could look like, and so there's basically two different shoes, and people are getting those mixed up.
You did this mock-up of the 85? That's yours? That it was
No, not the 85. I'm not sure if you saw it. There's another
React.
mock-up.
Yeah. It says React.
No. That's the 80.
Okay.
That's the original one, and I just added the React logo to it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
and you know, it says Coley 2XS at the bottom of your article. So did you change the source, or that this is the kind of thing? I'm not arguing about whether the shoe's coming out with React. It's like the info, right? It says it says source Coley 2XS at the bottom of the article.
That's who it was, not DJ Folk. That's who I.
You know who that is?
Yeah, I know who he is.
Okay, because he has one YouTube video. Is he new?
He's been around like Twitter, Facebook, quite for some time. He's new on YouTube.
So you trust him, his info?
For the most part, yes.
Well, enough to write this article, right?
Yeah, of course, enough to write this article. But see, this is what I don't think you might not understand, is that...
Please, I'm curious.
You compared sneaker websites to CNBC?
Well, not exactly. I said if CNBC makes a mistake, yeah, they correct it. But you corrected this story, didn't you? Add the not, didn't you? The first headline said it is releasing, then you said not, right?
No, it says everywhere says rumor. The very first sentence on the website is rumor, and that's
the Air Jordan Bread 1 is not releasing on Black Friday, right?
Where are you reading this at?
Sneakerfiles.com.
Are you actually going into the article and reading the first sentence?
No, I'm just saying the headline. For example, the first sentence for 2019. It's rumored that the Air Jordan 1 bread
there we go.
Return. But then the update is at the bottom, right, where you said.
Yep, where it says update.
Yeah, so the first part of the story says it's a rumor, but it will return once again, according to the rumor, right? But the rumor changed. The rumor changed, right?
Slightly. It was more added on. It was added onto it because there's a bread releasing, but it's supposed to have React cushioning. That's what I've been told.
No, I totally understand. I'm following the story closely. It's just, it says further down. So the original story is there, right? And then further down it says update, right? That's where it changed the next day, where DJ Folks said, well, it might be 2020, or whoever said that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where you got that info as well, right?
No, I did not get that info from them.
Who did you get that from, or can you tell me, or is it?
I mean, I can't tell you that.
So I guess the brand. Okay, no, I don't want you to tell me if you can't, but if it's public knowledge, I would love to know. Like, but yeah, the first rumor was from Coley, and then it was changed the next day. So I guess someone said that's wrong, right?
I wouldn't say it's wrong, because if there's a bread releasing, I mean, it's going to look like the bread. It's just going to have React. The color description, as far as, and the style number, that was for a totally different shoes that many websites ran with. And initially, I did too. I ran with that as well. And then when I checked with my sources once again, or actually I mean, it's an ongoing conversation with him. But when I checked with him that night, he told me, "Look, this is what I've been told," and
Yeah,
so
no,
there
I
it is.
totally understand. So what I'm saying, what I was saying in the article, is that that initial story that's based on the Coley rumor that the breads are dropping in OG high form, full family sizing, 160 regular price, biggest release of an Air Jordan 1 ever. That was the first day rumor that everyone ran with, right?
Yes,
So I'm
that's correct.
saying, if someone reads this story that I'm looking at, this is the Air Jordan Bread 1 is not releasing on Black Friday. That's the updated story. I think more people read the first story. Wouldn't you agree? Like, when they're clicking, they're looking for it, right?
I mean, I couldn't tell. I'd have to look at analytics and everything like that.
Well,
But
my point is that
essentially,
the rumors out there, and people, it's not only you guys, it's how people jump on these things and spread them themselves. I mean, they're not the media, so they shouldn't be held accountable. But everyone went with the same. I spoke to, and I'm not saying you guys did this, but I spoke to, well, I said it. I spoke to someone, and he says, "Yeah, we just go with the rumor, and if it's wrong, so what? I mean, we're just looking for traffic." And
that's not how I run things. That's totally not. If I know something is totally wrong and I find out, I'll write the article and say it's wrong and say it in the title. That's how I run things. I don't do it just for clicks. I think clickbait is. I understand it's a whole thing in the web world, but I also view it as something very negative. I feel like it's more deceptive. I feel it's just not. I personally don't like clickbait, and I would never write something knowing that it's false. Everything I've ever put out there on online is with good intent. Now, the biggest thing is too, Jordan, like Black Friday. Let's say these shoes are releasing on Black Friday. How many months away are we? We're a long ways. They haven't even gone into production yet. This is more so talk, and this is how a lot of things get out there. It's talk with the brands. Sometimes at this early stage, there is product numbers, there's colorways, there's release time frames, everything like that. So, and it's months in advance, and they could change things at a drop of a hat for no reason, just because they want to. You might remember there was a Air Jordan 7 fadeaway. It was
Those
all
red
red.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to release, and they scrapped that. I don't know why. I just was told before they actually came out, or was supposed to come out in January. I was told, hey, they're not releasing. Nobody saw any updates. Nobody saw anything. It's just kind of left it at that.
yeah, no, I know, but the other thing we should probably talk about, and wouldn't want, no one would expect you to say who your sources are, but I mean, there's sources and there's good sources, and I tried to point that out in the article too. You could have someone who's an intern who's trying to make a name for themselves, maybe make a buck somehow by providing information, and then there's good sources. And if a guy from YouTube and he's been around from Twitter, and then yeah, you don't know his source. You just know him, right? So
Yes.
that's the problem. You're reporting on this guy who's, and that doesn't happen. That's never happened in like my kind of media. That would never happen, at a major newspaper. I could tell you that. You wouldn't go use someone else's information. You don't know that person. And the other thing is how people in the sneaker media credit people. It's sometimes never credited at all. But I'd love you to talk about, using someone who's not the source of the information. They got it from someone else, so it's a secondhand source, right?
I believe so. I don't know him personally, so I don't know his background. I don't know if he works for the brand, with the brand, whatever it may be. But I could say this: I'm not any individual who posts something on Twitter just saying whatever. Anybody can do that. I'm not going to run with that. They have to have credibility. The Cooley guy, he's been around for a while. He's been around for a minute. He's just new to YouTube. I'm not sure, Kevin, if you've heard. I'm sure you've heard of him, right, Kevin?
I haven't actually.
You haven't? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Well, he's associated with DJ Folk, and I'm sure everybody here knows who he is. And they're like clicked up together. They're cool. And he even vouched for this info. So it's like, okay, this guy already has a good credibility, but then you take somebody else like DJ Folk, who has been around for quite a few years, and he has great credibility. So why wouldn't you run with this story? And at the same time, what I think a lot of people like, you can't compare
Right.
a newspaper to a sneaker website, because sneaker websites are driven, not all, but they are driven in part by rumors. I mean, look how many times these release dates change. Are they really
Yeah.
release dates? Are they really changing like that? Or is the initial release date a rumor? Like, someone, initially it starts out like that. They change all the time. So, I mean, you can't really, I don't think that's a fair comparison. The only way I can compare the two is having integrity when you write, not putting fake information out there. Now, and when I say that, meaning the intent, because here's the thing: I've leaked a lot of information. I've over the years. And personally, I've been told too many to just name right here. And there's been a few times where I've been wrong in the sense of it not releasing, but that's what I've been told by people at the brand. So it's not necessarily me going out here starting fake rumors and starting, spreading lies and things like that just to get clicks to the website. Because if that was the case, I would have wrote Air Jordan 11 Cool Gray and Breads releasing on Christmas Day, and that's not even the case. We all know that, but I'd have all these months to get these clicks and keep sharing and sharing. And then at the last minute, I could say, oops, well, you know what? They just decided to pull it. I mean, I could do things like that. I don't, though. That's just
I'm not saying you do. I don't.
No, I know.
Anything up, but maybe some of the people where the rumors are coming from are making stuff up, and if for whatever reason, or getting it wrong, or reading into something, and if your sources aren't good, your reporting isn't good. I mean, I don't think the standards are the same, and I guess that's what frustrated me. The standards aren't the same, and sneakers are so big that maybe it's time for the standards to get up. Now, that's my perspective.
Well,
I know you think it is just the reality.
Well, let me interject as somebody that's not in the journalism and things like that. Like when I go to check out what could possibly be coming out, I go into it with a mind frame thinking that it's a possibility. Now, Brian isn't responsible for bringing these shoes out, so he can't really tell you with 100% accuracy that something is going to come out, because he's at the liberty of another brand saying, hey, we can drop the shoe or we can not drop the shoe. So I think that when you're looking at when you're looking at the kind of reporting that sneakers, you have to kind of look at it more like the weather, where you have a possibility that something's going to happen. And I would say that for most of the time, Brian's pretty right. I mean, like I watch his videos, and I pay attention to his content, just like I pay attention to, I pay attention to Folk, DJ Folk. I pay attention to, when Peanut was on, and I watch all these guys, and you kind of compare the information, and typically it typically comes to fruition for me. Now, I want to ask the people in the chat, what are your guys' like, what do you guys think? Like, when you guys see, rumors and everything drop, it gets the wheels turning. But if it doesn't drop, sure, you might be a little bit bent out of shape. But at the same point, a lot of those rumors are true. So does that get a pass? And do you look at sneaker news in the same light as, say, like, your news that you're seeing in the New York Times and things like that? Do you put them on the same level? What do you guys think? And that's just what I wanted to add in there. I mean, because like I said, you guys do this on different areas, but I mean, you guys are journalists at the end of the day. Me being a just straight up consumer, it hits me different.
That's another thing I wanted to touch on. Technically, I guess by definition, you could say I am a journalist, but I don't think and feel that I'm a journalist. I don't go around saying, hey, I'm a journalist or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
However, the article here is definitely tailored, and I've got the impression that you are a journalist. You probably went to school for that, things like that. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. Do you consider yourself a reporter?
I report. Yes, I do.
Okay,
But
I
here's
think
the
those
thing.
are the same things.
Okay, here's the thing. With your article, you got a quote from Soul Collector.
Yep.
But you didn't even think to reach out to me and to talk to me about it, even though you, in my opinion,
the sneaker files one, right? Sorry.
Sneaker Files, that's me. Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't even think to reach out to me and say, "Hey, what is your thoughts on this?" You didn't, and you basically, you didn't necessarily. I wouldn't say you put them in a bad light, but you were like, it basically made me feel like, at least they're being honest. And then me, I'm over here spreading lies. That's how I took your article. And
well, you guys reported it differently, right? I mean, I didn't get anything wrong here, did I? One day you reported on it just like those guys, and the next day it was the story wasn't the same, right?
And there was more added on to the story.
No, it's a different. Wait.
It's no. The bread. Okay, maybe you're not understanding here because there's
I saw the
bread
articles.
releasing. There's a bread.
I saw the articles.
Okay.
Yeah. So on the first day, you said there was a Jordan 1 bread coming out on Black Friday, right? You reported that, right?
Yes.
And now your headline actually says it is not releasing on Black Friday.
But you're stuck on the headline. You're not reading the actual content.
But you changed the headline. That's what people see on Google News on their phone. I mean, you change the headline, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So the follow-up claimed that there's a Jordan 1 releasing, but it will be fitted with React, right? So that's a big difference, right? I mean,
if it looks like the bread, it looks exactly like an OG. Let's say it looks like an OG form, everything else, but it's a drop-in React. Okay, the midsole, everything is the same. I mean, technically, it is not exactly like the 95 or 85s, right? But you could say everything looks. I mean, that's argument for people.
No, I know
the aesthetic.
Yeah, the
aesthetic. There's another bread, but then you also reported that another bread without React was coming out later in the year, right? Or 2020? Am I wrong?
I did a totally different mock-up. It doesn't look anything like the bread, and that was associated with the product number and the description that everybody was spreading. That was actually.
Yeah, it's more like the black and white.
Yeah, it's more like a black and white with hits of red. So it's not. I didn't use the actual same image for that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm maybe I'm in the minority, but when someone says, and I'm not sure if you use this exact wording, that it's going to come with the OG cut. Everyone was talking about the OG cut, even OG materials, I heard. And that just seemed crazy to me that Jordan Brand would all of a sudden be even able to use that. But people, maybe that was DJ Folk taking it to the next level. It seemed like everyone picked up on this. You could clarify. I don't have the your article, and I don't know if the article changed at all. That's another thing, right? I mean, you people change articles, and
yeah, they change them, and I changed mine as well, and I put an update at the towards the end of the writing, and I clarified everything.
Did you add the word rumor?
Rumor, no.
It was there the first time?
Yeah. On the initial, rumor was there.
Some people didn't use the word rumor because stating it's fact. I said you guys stated it fact. If you said it was a rumor, I wouldn't have said stated it's fact. But that's something that only, I guess, I'll never know. But it was just it seemed obvious to me that one day it was one thing, the next day it was the other. And I'm sorry if I picked on you. It seemed like the most glaring example of what I was talking about. So that's
I understand. I just feel that.
Go ahead.
I just feel with your article, I understand if you wanted to use me as an example, but I mean, I feel that you could have reached out. I feel like you could have asked for a quote, maybe even to clarify. I mean, there's so many things, but I mean, you don't have to. Of course, you can run with however you want, but as somebody who read it, initially I was a little bit upset because I honestly felt that your article, somebody from the outside looking in that doesn't really, follow maybe Sneaker Files, they may think, oh, you're discrediting me. When in actuality, I've actually, leaked quite a bit of info over the years. And that's not giving myself a pat on the shoulder or anything. It's just that, I've been doing this for too long for somebody to question if I'm out here spreading, lies and rumors. And if that wasn't what you were doing, then I apologize, but that's definitely what I took from your article.
Well, lies and rumors are different. You are spreading rumors, aren't you?
Oh, I'm sorry,
This is a
rumors.
rumor.
Rumors, yes.
Rumor.
We could say, I mean, lies. Let's say lies. Everything.
No, I didn't want to suggest you, and I didn't. I'm reading exactly what I wrote, and this is a blog post. It's not a news article. If there should be a difference, but maybe there shouldn't be a difference, but there is in terms of getting quotes from people. I did speak to several editors like you, people in charge of sites like yours, that people would say in the same sentence, and they told me that some of them told me that they don't even have any contact with brands, and they totally have to go with leakers. They have no relationships with brands, and others said they have no sources other than these leakers that everyone else sees on IG and Twitter, and they just run with the rumors. So maybe you're the best of the bunch, but it seems like this is widespread. I mean, maybe you want to speak to that instead of, you obviously, I hear where you're coming from defending yourself, but do you think this is commonplace, that people just running with whatever and not even checking with their sources? Does that happen?
To be 100% fair, I really can't speak on other websites just because I don't know how they run things, but I mean, if that's what they're telling you, I mean, that's kind of surprising to me because, there's, I don't know. I don't know what to say on that.
Well, here,
when I read a story and the only information in that story is the same thing I read from DJ Folk on Twitter, I know that reporter didn't have any other sources, maybe they just called their source and said, hey, is this true, exactly what DJ Folk said? You'd think they'd be able to get at least one tiny piece of new information, but it's literally the same thing everyone's reading, and every blog has the exact same information. And no one's doing any individual reporting, I don't think, because there would be more information. Maybe they're checking with their sources, but maybe not, right?
They could be. I mean, they could. I know personally, I get a lot of questions about certain shoes releasing and, more OG stuff and, to pin some retros, new colorways. So I'll ask, my connections. If they don't have nothing, they don't have it. They don't know. And I can't really, speak on others, but that's what I do. Initially there's certain news that you write and you just write. But when it's like rumors and leaks and things like that, I'll check. And if they say they don't know my sources, my personal sources, they're not sure, then, either way, I'm going to put rumor, but I'm going to credit the individual who leaked that information as long as they have credibility. I'm not going to just, quote somebody who just popped up out of nowhere and is not connected, because there's, you could tell who runs with who and who runs with who. And I feel that if you never heard of Cooley, but I know who he is. He's been around for a while, and him, and DJ Folk vouching for him is kind of like, in my eyes, okay, well, that name is definitely cemented, and he's even following up and clarifying on certain things, So it's like, okay, he's pretty much co-signing what he's saying.
But DJ Folk afterwards was like, I do this as a hobby. Things change. If things change, he's covering his ass to some degree, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, because it's true. I mean, it comes with the territory. I mean, things do change at Jordan Brand all the time. It's stuff they're going to do, and then they decide not to do it. I just, earlier on. I don't have a problem with someone on Twitter spreading rumors. It's when you guys pick it up, that's when everyone else sees it, right? And everyone else thinks it's legit, whether some people put rumor, some people don't. You read 5 articles and one of them says rumor or 4 of them say rumor. After a while you start to believe it, right?
Well, let me ask this though, is it their responsibility after they put rumor in it to continuously remind you that it's a rumor? I mean, just because you see it, if you see it in,
it says rumor.
But if you see it in multiple places, that might build validity to the rumor in your head, but at the end of the day, it's still that same rumor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no one says rumor on IG. They may do it on their website. But when,
on IG,
you see that post. There's no rumors. Everything is a fact on IG.
Yeah, well, IG is a telephone game. It originally starts as Bert has a red truck, and then it ends up Bert has 8 different mistresses and you know what I'm saying, and drives a BMW. That's just what it is. And then I think a lot of times when you look at IG, you have a lot of people that play doctor. You know, like I'm a doctor on here. I know everything. There's people that don't even collect shoes that want to tell you any and everything about shoes. There's people that get on YouTube and talk about any and everything that to do with YouTube. And there's a lot of people. I mean, they'll get in your chat. They'll get in your DMs and tell you what you're doing wrong when they're not doing anything themselves. And you gotta watch out. You know, some of the stuff that you take in. I mean, if I see something on anybody's blog, if it's not coming out of Nike, then I'm just kind of like, all right, well, this is a possibility.
Yeah, I agree. That's the way you should look at it. But like you look at this popular website, it says it's Twitter, Modern Notoriety. OG Air Jordan 1 Bread returns Black Friday for a retail price of $160. The Air Jordan will feature OG High Cut. Aside from the fact that OG High Cut doesn't give me any more information, I thought we had OGs for a long time.
Right.
You start to click and you see. The problem is people don't read. They just look on IG. No one ever clicks the article anymore. I mean, let's get real. People don't have the attention span anymore. So, if I'm a media site and I have something on my IG and it doesn't say rumor and the story says rumor, I think less people are probably reading the story, and people see the IG and they post it on their IGs. And yeah, it's not news the way it's traditionally spread.
Right. But I think that here's the thing though, when you report on things that are traditional, like the traditional news, if you apply that to the sneaker world, then by the time you report it, the shoe's already out.
Exactly. That's one of the main things. And, there was a time and day before media was like it is now. And you just go to a store kind of here maybe a week before that a shoe's releasing. And I'm talking like 1990s, or maybe early 2000s. And you just go and, like maybe a week or so ahead. But that's not how it works nowadays.
Yeah, but if you have good sources in any media, I mean, you're talking about old school media, it would take months. No, I write stories. I can have a story on a website in an hour. I can call someone to confirm it, just like the sneaker media. I don't know what you mean by that.
But isn't the race different though? I mean, to report on
online now, right? There's no one reads a newspaper anymore, right? It's my business is all online. That's all we need for money. That's all where the money is. It's not print anymore. That's what Russ Benson said with his quote in my article. It's like in the old days, yeah, you could decide not to run something. In print days, it's so complex, but now you don't have the time. You gotta get up the Google rankings.
I think there's a new thought process when it comes to news, just because of what the news that we're being served right now. I mean, even regular news is very iffy and sketchy, and depending on what your thought process, you can interpret it a whole entire different way. You can watch Fox, you can watch CNBC or whatever, and it's the same story with a whole different skew. So I mean, I think that people are ingesting news differently. I think that with sneaker news, I think they're not looking at it the same way that they look at regular news, or at least that's how I look at it. Like, I don't look at sneaker news as like, all right, hey, this is the gospel. I don't even look at, you can look at stuff in the Bible and interpret it a different way. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. There's no 100% facts until the shoe comes out, and at that point, what's to talk about?
Yeah, I definitely don't treat it as the gospel. That was the whole point.
For sure.
That it's,
But I'm just saying, like, it by the time the shoe is ready to come out, by the time Nike releases actual images, we're like within 2 weeks of the shoe coming out. I mean, there's shoes that have already showed up at people's places already, and they've got them in hand. StockX is already selling them before Nike, releases their official images, or at least before we see them on IG. And, we might have seen a mock-up, or we might have heard the rumor, months and months ago. I mean, is the Bread 11, is that confirmed? Because all I hear is that it's coming out, but I mean, there's a possibility that they don't bring those out either. Have they produced them yet? Who knows?
I haven't seen any images. I've just heard from people connected to the brand that they are coming. I still say it's a rumor. I mean, I can't say anything else until I see some images or leaked, and that's why I'll still say rumor. Like if you watch any of my news videos that I do or anything like that, I'll go on and I'll say this is a rumor. I'm very, very careful with my wording as far as certain things, because I don't want to put out news and then people get upset at me if it turns out to be wrong. And I feel that there are people that do that. And do I think it's right? No. But all I could do is worry about myself, worry about my website, and worry about giving everybody, that follows Sneaker Files, the correct information, or at least,
what you believe to be true.
Yes.
I want to say I'm a fan of Sneaker Files. I've read you forever. I think you guys do great stuff. It was just an example that I picked. I didn't mean to pick on anyone. There was so much out there, and I think you do great work. And it's not for me. It's not so much the sources. Remember, it's not just this person maybe knows someone at Jordan Brand. We'll never know who those sources are unless we know who Coley's talking to. And you say, but you said people connected to the brand, right? And that's but to me, as a journalist, I don't think that's someone who works for the brand. You said connected to the brand, so that could be someone whose brother. That could be someone.
Hold on, we lost you.
Connected could be anything,
there you go.
I think that's on my hat. We're running news based on sources, and
I'm sorry, you're breaking.
You're breaking up.
And I'm hearing an echo.
Yeah, I gotta let me just fix my headphones.
All right. And remember, these were originally they were supposed to come out like a year before that, and then have patent leather. They were calling them the eggnogs. And the 11, these are the platinum or whatever. But remember, like maybe a year before that, there was a rumor that like there was like an eggnog Jordan 11 that was supposed to come out, and it it never did. But a shoe greatly resembling that came out, the next year. So,
things get moved around.
Yeah.
When the leaks come out very early and they come from sources and from connected to the brand. And I know John just said that, using connected. Like I said earlier, I can't speak for others, but myself, these people I talk to have a direct connection. They don't use a middleman, to speak to somebody at Jordan Brand or even Nike. But I can't really say much more because honestly, they could lose their job. And I'm not, and I would feel horrible if that individual or individuals lost their job.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I know people work at Jordan Brand here in Toronto. Some people, work at the store. I mean, does that count?
No. I mean, I don't think it does. I mean, there's some people that work at the store and they'll, like managers and things, they'll get product sheets and kind of just see like what's going to come, not images, but
they work at Jordan Brand. They work at Jordan Brand, right? I could say it if I'm reporting it. I spoke to someone who works at Jordan Brand. They saw a product sheet, and that guy gets it wrong. He doesn't know how to read a product sheet.
I mean, technically, that's here nor there. That's not what I do.
No, I know. I'm not saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't speak on others how they go about it. To be 100% fair, just because, I haven't been part of their network, or I don't speak to them on that type of level. So I don't want to speculate on things they do or things like that. All I could say is that what I can say is, and I'm sure this is mostly public knowledge, is that roughly 4 times a year, Jordan Brand and Nike, maybe Nike actually might do it more. They have these meetings and they meet up with certain individuals. I don't want to give much more than that. Not influencers or anything like that. Not people like that, but they go to these things and they get to view what's coming. Now, sometimes they actually have the model in colorway right there in person. Sometimes it's just like a picture of it. Other times it's just an outline of it, and it just says what it is below it. And then there's somebody who will talk to you individually and kind of go over what that is and everything.
All right.
So from that point, it's so far in advance. Like, let's say there's a picture there. They haven't started production on it. That is the plan. And, they can easily cancel it at that point.
So this isn't like you. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
This isn't like you or Cousteau or Kais. It's like a leaker type of person, you're saying.
Yeah, I wouldn't I wouldn't put.
Yeah, they're different.
Yeah, so they're giving it to people with less followers just to leak it for the hype. But I mean, why wouldn't they just give it to you and just say don't show the picture, or just wait? I mean, they're giving it to someone who's less reputable than you, that has less followers than you, that has less credibility than you. So why are they going to those people? At least if that's what you're getting at.
It's just who you know. That's it.
Oh, they're connected. That's how they get an invite.
Yeah.
Well, you also don't want to. You also don't want to have an entity that always leaks all your stuff out all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't want to give that directly. So say if, he was getting information directly from Nike, and then he just started saving stuff and just started dropping information out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that might be it. Maybe they probably don't do it to people that are gonna leak directly.
But if they give it to Brian, they could probably establish some kind of relationship.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, there's embargoes. You get information, you have to hold it or else you never talk to that company again until you follow their rules, or else they're done. So if it was Nike or Jordan, you wouldn't mess around. Or if it was Adidas, you wouldn't mess around. But if it's DJ Folk, who says he's not in it for anything, I mean, yeah, maybe he's got a friend who's there, and that's why he's there. But yeah, I mean, I believe you. I mean, these meetings, I don't understand it from the brand perspective. Like, it sounds like an organized thing.
Yeah, it is an organized thing. It is very organized. I like I said, I'd like to go in more detail on that live, but at the same time.
No. I understand. Do you know these happen, or are these just people telling you? Like, do you ever verify that, or is it the same people giving you the information and telling you these secret meetings? Like,
I've never been to one, because if I could have gone, I've been invited, but I've never been, because if I go and leak something, I don't want it to get back to the individual who I went with.
Yeah.
So I stay clear of it, just for that reason alone. And I know when it's happening. I know. Yeah. Like with that surge of news that leaked. What was it? What was all the news? Like the holiday stuff. Most of the holiday stuff that's dropping, like November, December. There was a meeting maybe a week or two prior to that.
So it's more than just friends getting hooked up to see stuff. It's intentional. We're giving it to these guys so it'll leak out.
Yeah, it's just not like, oh, you're cool with Jordan Brand. Come on down. It's not like that. No. No, it's there's a purpose for everything.
DJ Folk makes it like it's a hobby, but it sounds pretty serious. It sounds pretty, pretty secretive, pretty, follow the rules, like, put this secret code in, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think he's more saying it's a hobby for him, because he's not actually for this as far as like.
You're faded, Brian.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. I think I was saying, in fairness to DJ Folk, I think he's saying it's more of a hobby because he's not making a living providing leaks and things like that. He's not being compensated.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Well, we got to wind this thing down. My wife is like needing some attention. So definitely.
My girlfriend and kids are in the other room right now. I got to get back to them.
All right, man. I definitely appreciate you guys coming on. You guys want to say anything going out, and don't hang up when I take it offline. But you guys, have anything to say on the way out?
No, I appreciate you having me on the show, and I appreciate John for being on and speaking with me and going over this.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Yeah, I next time, hopefully we can keep in touch, and I'll reach out, and maybe next time I write something, I'll get your opinion on it, and and maybe one day you'll let me write for Sneaker Files.
Sure. But yeah, I'm definitely, lines are open. Feel free.
Thanks.
Hit me up anytime.
Awesome. And then
Thanks,
I want to
Kev.
thank everybody in the chat, usual suspects, people that are just stopping by. I like to try to do this a little bit more often. In addition to the Monday Midsole, we did shrink down to an hour, so that leaves a little bit more time to do some other things. But we will be back on Monday, if not sooner. So thank you guys, and thanks to everybody that reposted. I will make sure to mention you guys on Monday. And we're out of here.